Hello, and welcome back to Helldivers, where today I'm going to do a bit of a retrospective on the whole heavy armor Hive Guard situation. Now, you may be thinking that it's a bit of a dead topic considering that Arrowhead reverted this change in record time, but that actually makes it the perfect thing for me to use as a testing ground for this series of videos. Already in the process of making this video, I realized that speaking off the cuff, like my previous rant, was really not going to work, and I needed to put down a proper script like I did back in my Isle days. Before going any further, I must preface this video by saying, yes, the heavy armor Hive Guards was a big deal to the community. Was it the only thing? No. Was it a big deal to a lot of people? Yeah. I have seen a lot of people recently saying that the Hive Guard change was a non-issue and nobody cared about that, but brother, it was everywhere when the update first dropped. And in the week since, you can find people everywhere talking about it, how it was terrible, awful, and ruined so many things. There are plenty of popular clips criticizing this change, some of which I will discuss in this video. Now, with all of that out of the way, what exactly was the Heavy Armor Hive Guard change? In patch 6.2.2, the Hive Guard, a Terminated Chaff unit with medium armor on its head and front legs, had this armor buffed to being heavy armor. As for the reasoning behind this change, I will let the devs speak for themselves.
This is going to be an interesting one.
This needs context.
Yeah, this needs context. With the last patch, we accidentally had a bug where the Hive Guards, the front legs armor were in the wrong place.
Yeah.
So you could shoot it with light armor penetration weapons.
That was not the intent.
That's what's not the intent. Some players liked it, but yeah, we're trying to find another solution here where we want to promote or reward you for doing like shooting at the right spot and having good aim.
And this is also like we have point system in the game, so the game kind of chooses what enemy to spawn, how dangerous is it. So when you have an encounter, it's basically a point system, and then a Bile Titan costs a lot more points than like a scavenger.
Yeah.
So you get like reasonable difficulty.
Yeah.
The Hive Guard is actually quite a bit of points, but it's not actually good.
Yeah, it's not that dangerous really. But
yeah, it's a slower warrior that also like stops when you shoot at it, and it seemed right when the game was new because there wasn't a lot of medium penetration weapons. So most of the weapons you had was light armor penetration. So it kind of blocked a lot of shots, and you had to like bring a machine gun to mount down.
Yeah.
Now there's a lot of medium penetration and up, which means that it's like it wasn't very smart to like, I'm gonna sit here and block attacks when like everything just kills it.
Kills it, yeah.
So now its armor is heavy armor.
Yeah.
But the body.
Yeah. So the body armor is decreased from light to unarmored, so it goes down from 2 to 1. And also the health is decreased from 500 to 375.
Yeah.
So in theory there, like if you shoot the body, it will die almost as fast or faster than before. But you need to hit it like between the heavy armor spots.
Yeah, or shoot from the sides or back.
Yeah,
also,
if you shoot it from the side, it will be a lot faster as well.
Also, explosions
is a lot
kill
better.
it faster.
Yeah. Like an impact grenade will just kill it now and stuff like that. So
a grenade launcher one shot, but it will have actual armor that matters.
Yeah.
Breaking down what they said, their reason for the change was that the Hive Guard was, quote, a slower warrior that stops when you shoot at it, end quote. I believe this to be an accurate assessment. The Hive Guard is one of the least threatening enemies in the Terminated roster because it lacks the speed to rush down players like warriors and hunters, while also lacking armor that can partially protect it from a majority of chaff-clear weapons. Arrowhead's solution to this problem was to give the Hive Guard, quote, actual armor that matters, end quote. But they did not stop there, reducing the Hive Guard's health from 500 to 350 in order to, quote, reward hitting your shots and good aim, end quote. So what did this change do in practical terms? All medium pin weapons could no longer penetrate Hive Guard armor, forcing them to aim for unarmored areas in the same manner that light pin weapons are. This affected medium pin primaries, like the Liberator Penetrator, Adjudicator, Slugger, etc., the Blitzer, medium pin secondaries like the Verdict, Talon, etc., the MG43, the Maxi Gun, Machine Gun Sentry, Gatling Sentry, and Patriot Exosuit Gatling Gun. As a result of its reduced health, light penetration weapons were able to kill Hive Guards faster as long as your shots were not hitting the armor. Explosive and flame damage bypassed this armor and also became better at killing Hive Guards because of the reduced health. Effectively, this change nerfed medium pin weapons and buffed light pin, explosive, and flame weapons in regards to Hive Guards. I will address the weapons that were nerfed by this change by order of severity, and include my own conclusions on whether the change's impact was desirable or not. This is ordered from most to least concern. First, we have the Blitzer, which was most severely effective as it became completely ineffective against Hive Guards, as showcased in this video. For the Blitzer, this change was awful because it cannot target unarmored spots from the front. This is a completely valid concern that would need to be addressed if heavy armor Hive Guards were re-implemented. Every other weapon that deals arc damage goes straight through armor, and I can see no reason why the Blitzer should be an exception to that. Second, we have the Machine Gun and Gatling Sentries. These sentries are stationary and cannot target weak points, creating scenarios where they will waste all of their ammo against a single Hive Guard, as seen in this video. This is a valid concern, but my opinion on whether this would require addressing if heavy armor Hive Guards were re-implemented has gone back and forth as I've thought about it. Machine Gun and Gatling Sentries are top-tier chaff-clear sentries, capable of holding down a significant portion of bug breaches even on higher difficulties. If they chew through Hive Guards the same as any other chaff, then we return to the issue of Hive Guards just being slower warriors. A horde of Scavengers, Warriors, and Brood Commanders, and Hunters can overwhelm a sentry because they can all rush it down. Hive Guards present no threat to a sentry because they are slow and will hunker down when shot, even when those shots go through its armor. With it in mind that this was a nerf to these sentries, how serious of a nerf was it? Well, if you leave a sentry completely unattended with no support, then it might target a Hive Guard, which hunkers down and forces it to waste all of its ammo. I believe that this is not an unbalanced interaction. Hive Guards were not made completely invulnerable to these sentries like Chargers and Bile Titans are. They will still sometimes hit the gaps in the armor and kill the Hive Guard from the front. And the issue of a well-positioned Hive Guard countering the sentries can easily be solved by player intervention or other sentries. You will notice that in videos showcasing how quote-unquote useless these sentries are against heavy armor Hive Guards, that the player is not assisting their sentry by flanking and killing the now pinned down Hive Guard. In actual gameplay, you don't just gawk at your sentry when it's wasting ammo on something that it can't kill, but you can. If a charger is running at your sentry and you have an AT weapon, you shoot the charger to save your sentry. If a Hive Guard is tanking your Gatling sentry, you shoot the Hive Guard. Really, the biggest complaint here is that heavy armor Hive Guards potentially make the Machine Gun and Gatling sentries less fire and forget than they currently are. Currently, if you put up either of these sentries and leave them unsupported, the only real threat to them is an absolutely overwhelming number of chaff, or if a Charger or Bile Titan shows up, because these two enemies are the only enemies on the bug front that do not get shredded by them. And do consider that Hive Guards are still slower than these heavy enemies. The issue of these sentries wasting all of their ammo fruitlessly on a single Hive Guard is solved by simply supporting your sentry, whether that be directly or by placing another sentry nearby which can bypass a Hive Guard's armor. Think the autocannon sentry, flame sentry, or Tesla tower. I know a lot of people will disagree with this assessment, and I will reiterate that I've gone back and forth in my beliefs on this one. If you think I missed something or my arguments aren't holding water, feel free to start a discussion in the comments. Third, we have medium pin primaries, secondaries, and support weapons. Unable to penetrate heavy armor, these weapons were forced to aim for gaps in the Hive Guard's armor, or its exposed flank. I will provide my own example for this with a bit of unscripted commentary. Alright, welcome to a little demonstration. I've got a Hive Guard here, nice and isolated, so that I can actually show off some of its behavior and such. Unfortunately, I don't have any footage from the patch that made them heavy armor, so I'm making do with the medium armor reversion. If I did a demonstration in the previous version, I probably would use an MG43 for this, but because that's not an option, I'm using a Stalwart, lower RPM on it, and it's roughly equivalent because it's medium armor to light, so it is just... right, it's not just going to bounce off, as you can see right there. So the interesting thing is, you'll see all these clips, I might put them before or after, wherever I put this in the video, where people act like they can't do anything to it when they're just shooting it straight in the armor. And now the interesting thing is with Hive Guards, if you shoot them a bunch, you'll notice that he hunkers down and stops moving. You'll see this in those videos. Now, interesting thing is that while he's hunkered down, you can really just get around him very easily and into all this juicy bits behind to kill him. But you don't even need to do that, or, you know, if he's being distracted by a sentry, just walk over to the side and kill him while he's hunkered down like that. You can kill him very effectively from the front, and this is actually more difficult in this patch with this light pin weapon than it was in the previous patch, because whenever they got the heavy armor on the head, they got their overall health decreased, making it easier to actually kill them with light pin weapons. So it's actually going to be harder because the reversion increased their health back. And you'll notice... right. Oh, I hit him a little bit there. You notice there's a lot of bits... okay, come on. Don't be like that. I'm trying to do a little demonstration here. Now you're going to call all your buddies and make it difficult for me with this tiny little breach. Okay, killed all of them. So, if we get you back to hunkering... come on, buddy. Okay, you'll notice there's a lot of the unarmored bits that you can see, that you can still kill. You can get the claws and such on them. So, as a quick demonstration, I am not dealing with that over there right now. I'll just shoot him. Oh, come on. There we go. Oh, I should let you get too close right there. Alright, let's actually try to kill him right now. You'll notice he dies pretty quickly when you hit him in that weak spot. It was actually much easier to kill him previously with that method. Alright, welcome to another demonstration here. Because I know someone will say, oh, well, I bet you can't hit those weak spots or do anything effective whenever... oh, that's lovely. Whenever you have to deal with the stress of a full swarm of bugs. You know, try that on a higher difficulty than difficulty 5. But you see, you seem to be ignoring that I was doing this for demonstrative purposes. So, okay, let's deal with, you know, a little bit more than difficulty 5. Let's see if I can find a single Hive Guard. Ah, there's a Hive Guard there. Oh, let's deal with this real quick first. Alright, you know, lots going on right here. As you can see, you know, it's a bit of a dire situation, to say the least. But, you'll notice, oh hey, the Hive Guards are actually pretty far in the back because they're a bit slow. And let's see if I can get a good angle on them. You'll notice, as the slowest bugs around, just about, they tend to actually not exert too much pressure on you when you're running away. Oh, there's a kill on one. And that is while dealing with quite a bit else around here. Ouch, that hurt. Ooh, jeez. Yeah, a little bit hairy here. But oh, hey, look, one of them actually almost caught up to me. You know what, let's toss a couple of grenades to deal with all that. And oh look, it killed him. Oh jeez. And just in case you thought it was a fluke there, let's try it again on a different planet. We got Bug Breach, and we got these guys again. Not dealing with you. Also got Bile Spears again, which is a bit unfortunate, because I was hoping for something less crazy, but oh well. And we got a Spore Charger, which just makes things even more difficult. Okay, you're dead. Right, can we get a single Hive Guard out of this? And do you mind? Okay, come on, we got a Hive Guard in here anywhere? There's just gonna be a bunch of this. Oh, there was my stab. Oh, there's a Hive Guard. There he is. Oh man, he died. Crazy. And I hope this is just a little bit of a demonstration of, as it turns out, in situations which are pretty high stress, lots of stuff going on, Hive Guards really aren't too much of an issue because they're pretty slow, and even then you can focus them down semi-effectively, even in less than ideal circumstances, like, say, Bug Breach difficulty 10 solo. So yeah, as you can probably gather from my demonstration, I am of the belief that this nerf to the effectiveness of medium pin weapons against Hive Guards is not really an issue. Sure, you can no longer directly penetrate their armor from the front, but even in high-stress situations, they can still effectively dispatch Hive Guards if you flank them or aim for the gaps in their armor. The fact that Hive Guards are slow among the bugs also means that they exert a lot less pressure on the player and can largely be ignored until after higher threat bugs are dealt with. And finally, we have the Patriot Exosuit. Here's a clip of that, which I have seen circulate quite a bit.
What the hell? Oh my god, no way, yeah.
The Patriot Exosuit's minigun is medium pin, creating scenarios where it can't damage a Hive Guard from the front with this weapon. This is not a valid concern in my opinion, because the Exosuit has legs, which it can use to maneuver the gun to an angle where it can shoot the Hive Guard's weak point. If the Hive Guard proves too maneuverable to flank, you can shoot it to keep it stationary. If you are overwhelmed by other bugs, you can utilize the Exosuit's legs to walk backwards at a speed much faster than that of the Hive Guard. Sorry if I'm sounding a bit mean with this one, but people really liked to lump this in with Sentry complaints while ignoring the fact that the whole crux of the Sentry complaint is that the Sentries can't move and don't have player input. Mechs, meanwhile, are basically manned gun emplacements that you can move. With all of this in mind, I think the controversy around the heavy armor Hive Guard change was blown out of proportion by the community. It was fed into the overarching narrative, which claims that Arrowhead is constantly nerfing players and buffing enemies, without taking a step back to ask if the change itself had a positive or negative impact on overall balance. It was touted as an insane nerf to players, while in reality it nerfed one weapon type and buffed 3 other weapon types simultaneously. I believe that the heavy armor Hive Guard buff was a good change. It made the Hive Guard more threatening by reducing the pool of weapons that could easily kill it from the front, further rewarded skill expression by encouraging aiming for the gaps in the armor / flanking by making those weak points deadlier than they were previously, and it also increased the effectiveness of light pin weapons, explosives, and fire against the Hive Guards. I would like to see it re-implemented in the future. However, a simple reversion would not be the way to do it. If heavy armor Hive Guards were to return, the Blitzer would need the ability to bypass this armor. I also believe that it would be better implemented as a high difficulty variant of the Hive Guard, similar to how we have Brood Commanders and Alpha Brood Commanders. That suggestion is not my idea. I've seen a few people toss it around, and I thought I would give it a shout out because it's a really good idea in my opinion. It would be a great way to preserve Hive Guards as players' introduction to medium armor at lower difficulties, and also increase the difficulty, make the game harder at, well, the higher difficulties. With all of that said, whether you agree with my arguments or have your own counterpoints, feel free to start a discussion down in the comments. For my next video, I plan on addressing the problems with the Vox engine, which is the most unbalanced enemy in the game. Thank you for watching, and I will see you next time.